Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's Tuesday night, 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Chicago, and it's 7 p.m. in New York City. Hello, everybody. I'm Mad Dog DeCipio. Welcome to What's the Buzz? Amelia, the Pitbull Chapman. How are you, kiddo?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm stoked up about tonight because I got a special guest. I got a couple special guests tonight.
Absolutely, we do.
I got Waze with me, and I got my daughter with me. My daughter come to see Papa work. Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl.
We have a very, very special show tonight. It's going to be a long one. My daughter's going to stay with us for a little bit because this is kind of like her area. But let me just tell everybody that we have gotten a hell of a response from the last couple of shows we did.
Yes.
And we're going to have more of those kind of shows. Just to let you know, Thursday night of this week, Dr. Anthony Tobia will be back. We're going to talk about cult behavior and cult psychology. And he'll have Dr. Ellie Diani with him. And I'm looking forward to that, Amelia.
Oh, yes, me too. It's an exciting subject.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So, listen, tonight's topic is going to be, we had to issue a disclaimer because you're going to see some graphic footage and photos. Tonight, the subject is the murder of Tupac Shakur. And let me just tell you a little bit about this. I first became aware of Tupac Shakur after he had already passed. I had no idea who this young man was. And the more I researched him, the more I found out he was actually a really bright kid. I call him a kid because he was 25 when he died.
Very young.
Very young guy, really young guy, but very smart, but very confused, a convoluted young man. Because he was as angry as he was brilliant. And that made for a really dangerous combination. His loyalties, it seemed, were torn between thug life and legitimate, enterprises. I'll use that word. And it was an entrepreneur for sure. But he was increasingly pulled into underground enterprises. He wanted to do music on his terms, and for the most part he did. But you don't exist in the rap world without making some strange bedfellows, and we'll talk about some of those people tonight. Before we even begin the show, Amelia, let's introduce everybody. Go around the horn. Who's all with us tonight?
Well, we have Mr. Michael Murphy, retired professional wrestler. Hello, how are you? And thank you again for your service.
Hello,
as well.
I'm all set for tonight. I am all set for tonight.
There he goes.
Look at him.
You ain't right, man. You just ain't right.
And then we have my good friend Michael, Mr. Waze Ortiz, rapper himself. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
Rap artist Waze is here tonight.
And I'll let you in.
Waze is going to be invaluable in tonight's show because he is the guy he's in the trenches.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the trenches, Murph. This guy's, we're going to talk about it. And to some degree, Murph, you can relate to him. And my daughter, of course, Shelby Myron. How you
and
doing,
your beautiful daughter. Don't forget, put beautiful in there.
She's very beautiful on camera, but I'm looking across from her right now. So.
Oh, I think she's beautiful.
She sure is.
Absolutely.
So tonight, the murder of Tupac Shakur. I'm going to go right to Waze on this one. tell me ways that when did you become aware of the impact of Tupac Shakur on music?
Well, I like to think that I was at those golden years that a average fan of hip hop is like really like geeked out and like super like fan about it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you keep up with every little piece of news. You know, at that time I was buying every magazine that had a picture of any of my favorite artists, Tupac and Death Row, and them at that time. And I was young and dumb enough to be living like in relation to the things they were talking about. So I would like to say it impacted me directly on different aspects of my life, personally, psychologically, in the physical form and spiritual, like on many levels.
So it's fair to say that his music certainly impacted you and
Definitely,
inspired you for sure.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Later on in the show, we're going to talk about the rap lifestyle. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole just yet. Uh,
Right.
Shelby, I want to go to you on this. I want to bring you up front and close and personal here with everybody. Look at your name her in lights there, baby. Shelby Mahara. My daughter. I'm so proud of this kid. When did you become aware of Tupac?
I think it was beginning of my high school years.
Okay.
My friends showed me Dear Mama by him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listened to the lyrics, it really showed me how a man can feel so empowered by what a woman does for him. Because
Yeah.
typically nowadays, you don't really see men appreciate women like that. And for a young kid to see that love that you should be giving a woman, it just showed me
Yeah.
like, what is this kid really all about?
We should also point out that he was raised by his mother and has a great deal of respect for his mother and his aunts that were a part of the family environment. Um, Tupac never spoke of his father, not in a positive way, anyway. We're going to talk a lot about that. That seems to influence the behavior in a dramatic way. Amelia,
Yes.
talk to me about your influence from Tupac, your inspiration by his music. How did you come to even know who this guy was?
Basically, my sister, she was the younger one, and so she used to listen to his music, and she used to say, "Sister, come listen to this." And basically, she was like, "Look, he's very inspirational, because like as Shelby was saying, he loved his mother. He grew up around a lot of women, and he learned how to respect women more that way. And
Mm-hmm.
he also wanted to have people understand that his generation and where he grew up, a lot of his race, that's what they knew, and he wanted people to understand that they're not bad people. They were good
Yeah,
people, and where they grew up, that's what they knew, and that's how they had to live and what
yeah,
they had to live with. And they were respectful people, no matter where they grew up. They were still respecting people. Just because where you come
yeah,
from doesn't mean that you're going to be disrespectful to
absolutely.
people.
I want to point out something here. I want to just show everybody a little something. And just to give you some perspective, Tupac Shakur was fatally wounded in a Las Vegas shooting September 7th, 1996. He died from his injuries not right away. It was about a week later. 6 or 7 days later, he passed away at the age of 25. A lot of has been made of that fact. Um, the injuries that he sustained, of course, I should point out, he was in a car with Death Row record founder, Suge Knight, who himself has a nefarious past. Certainly not a guy you wanted to cross for sure. But interestingly enough, when they fired these guns into the car, Suge Knight was only minimally injured, while Tupac took the brunt of the hit. Now, if you've ever seen Suge Knight, he's a very large target. He's 6'5", almost 450 pounds. He's a very large human being, very large guy. My question, Mr. Murphy, I'm going to bring you front and center on the tactical and logistical aspect, and that's why you're here. Talk to me, Murph, about how a guy 6'5", 450 pounds, driving a vehicle, and you're going to see the vehicle shortly. How does he drive this vehicle and not get hit? In fact, they were at a standstill when he got shot.
That's exactly why he didn't get hit. They were at a standstill. The people firing at the car or into the car were sighted in on the one person. They were not. Suge Knight was not the intended hit. Tupac Shakur was.
And that's where I'm going to stop you right there, Murph, but don't go anywhere. That is my contention. You will hear throughout tonight's program. I will make a case for conspiracy. I will also make the case that I think Tupac was set up for a hit. And I think Suge Knight was clearly in on it, but I'm not going to drop the big bomb on you yet. Wait till you hear who I think ordered the hit. Before we go there, let's take a look at, and I want you guys to really watch this. There's no sound on this video. Okay. You are looking at footage from the Las Vegas Hilton. What you're looking at right now are a couple of guys, a couple of celebrities leaving the Mike Tyson boxing match that night. There's a security guard talking to another well-known rapper. Here we go. You saw Tupac walk down that aisle, right? As you saw immediately what he did, and I want to show you again. Watch what he does. He's walking down the aisle, and then he makes a quick left. So much so that it surprised his bodyguard. He was very well known for leaving the bodyguard behind. Now, that bodyguard was a very big guy. He's a professional bodybuilder, and they call him BB. And I want you to see this. Watch this carefully. Murphy, you particularly watch this carefully because I want to ask you some questions. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Okay. Tupac's now leaving the casino. Now you're going to see in slow motion. Take note of this, Ortiz. Take note. Watch what he's doing. His bodyguard has to chase him, literally chase him out the casino. I think Tupac already knew something was up, and that's why he left. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I want to bring you in over here, Waze. Talk to me about what you just saw. Talk to me about what you saw there that doesn't add up.
What says a lot to me and always has is that still picture you showed, the facial expression on both Suge, who's looking away from that photo, and Tupac, who's looking dead at it.
Yeah.
I would hate to overthink it, but I feel like Suge looks like a little snaky in that photo, and Tupac looks a little concerned. But back to the video, it could be, you know, as a street guy who wants to be and remain in that element, it's easy to want to get away from your bodyguards and feel like you're okay no matter how you want to move throughout an event or a venue, no matter how big or how large you are. We hold on to this idea that people still respect me at the ground level of the streets. And as much as that could be true, that also leaves you very vulnerable. But being as that he had important people overseeing him, somebody should have seen to it that no one leaves his side. He's the investment. So I don't care how hardcore he thinks he is, the investment's to be protected by any and all means. And we see that now through social media with our current artists and A-listers.
Yeah, for sure. Amelia, chime in on that.
Yeah, exactly. Just like he said, no matter how big you are, you follow your celebrity person with every little step they take. You're like one little bitty tiny step behind them, little by little. Even if they move away from you, you follow them like
Yeah.
you're on them, like this. Even if you're attached to them, no matter what. You
And
take
that's
Interesting.
what you're paid good money
Yeah,
for.
you take a
Yeah.
bullet for them, no matter what. Just like if they're the president of the United States. Period.
Straight up.
Shelby, you have been involved in watching this for the last a couple of weeks, and you saw a show that actually inspired tonight's episode. So, what was it about the film that you watched that was the giveaway for you? Yeah. Do you think it was a setup? Do you think someone had it in for him? What did you think?
When you watch the show, like you get the first person point of view. Obviously, he could never fully see that because it's a shame he is dead now. But this, you can actually get the first person point of view. But with it, it's you see these two kids who really had nothing to do with any of this,
Mm-hmm.
Biggie and Tupac, because as soon as they started clicking more and they started getting bigger, people just wanted to split them right apart.
Yeah.
It was all about West Coast, East Coast.
Well, let's talk about that, Shelby. There seems to be this rivalry between Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records that's owned and operated by Puff Daddy Sean Combs. What do you know about Puff Daddy?
Puff Daddy is a very big producer. I know that he got most of his work, and I don't know if this is particularly correct, but from Biggie Smalls, and he built
True.
from there. But I also
Mm-hmm.
know that Puff Daddy did go through a lot. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people actually did think that Puff Daddy was actually a conspirator into Biggie's death for the longest.
Yeah.
But personally, I really don't think so because as close as they were, I really don't think Puff would do that.
Yeah.
But it's really
Well, if you follow the narrative at Bad Boy Records, Biggie made a lot of money for Sean Combs. He made a lot of money for Bad Boy Records. Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G. Those guys made some big time scratch, and millions of dollars for Puff Daddy. It wouldn't make any sense to me to be a compliciter in that. I'm not so sure, however, about Tupac Shakur because I really believe that the person responsible, in my opinion, for Tupac's death was Puff Daddy. That's the bomb I'm going to lay on you. I think Puff Daddy and Suge Knight had a devil's deal together. Think about it, and it makes sense because Death Row Records was making money, big money, but nothing compared to Bad Boy Records. It's the difference in styles between a guy that wears a suit and a guy that wears brass knuckles. Who are you going to negotiate with? The guy in the suit with the nice fountain pen, or are you going to negotiate with the guy that's got brass knucks,
Hmm.
Mike Murphy? Murph? He can't hear us.
You blanked out there for a second. What was the question?
The question was, who are you going to do business with? The guy that's got brass knucks or a guy wearing a suit?
Uh, that's kind of hard to say because at least the guy with the brass knuckles is going to be straight with you. The guy with the suit, you never know what he's got planned.
Only a biker could say that. Only a biker could say that. Okay.
Well, see,
Hang
well,
on that. Go
know,
ahead, Murph.
to the fact of his bodyguard.
Well,
To
here's
the
the
fact of
thing
his
about
bodyguard,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've done bodyguarding.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Well, let
I've done
me
it
ask you a
with,
question about that because you're going where I want you to go. You've been bodyguard for several people, in the line of work you do. Okay. If you're with a subject and that subject makes a break to the left, shouldn't you have a heads up? Or isn't there some kind of like, I don't want to use the word, some kind of etiquette that the subject is supposed to let you know if I'm going to go left or right? Because Tupac was the kind of guy, he went off. He went off often.
and see, that's the hard thing. That's the one hard thing in bodyguarding. When you're with the person, you don't know what they're thinking. You have to anticipate what they're thinking, what they're going to do. So when a celebrity of that caliber that you're bodyguarding, if he decides, hey, I'm going to go right instead of go left, you've got to try and anticipate that. But when you're in a crowd that big, your main objective as the bodyguard is to keep the crowd away from him. If he comes off and goes to the left and you're not ready for it,
and that's
that kind
exactly
of stuff
what happened. Michael, that's exactly what happened. Tupac was walking with his bodyguard. He takes a sharp left. He leaves the bodyguard. The bodyguard has to go after him. In the meantime, because he took off on his own, now he's got the public following him too. Let's take a look at this video.
East Coast top rappers have been shot and killed.
Tupac's supposed to perform at the club that night, and a dark SS Impala pulls up alongside, shoots Biggie several times, and he dies on the way to the hospital. So now there's blood on the ground, and then an unexpected thing takes place. They had to resurrect the case and have us take a new look at it and see if we've missed anything.
You believe behind all of this is Puffy.
He knew that Suge Knight was trying to hunt him down. He turned to the streets and said, can you guys handle this for me? And now they're going to go and retaliate to hunt down Tupac. The Cadillac pulls up, he leans out and shoots and ultimately kills Tupac.
Are you guys following what he's saying?
Yeah.
Are you all following what he's saying? Because it's critical. It's absolutely critical. We're going to talk about it a lot.
Tupac Shakur.
Why?
Okay. I want you to watch something, particularly Amelia and Waze. I want you to watch this. Shelby, take a look at this video. This has no sound to it. Okay? You're looking at, let me set this up so everybody understands. You're looking at Tupac. They're leaving the fight in Las Vegas. He's clowning around with the guy. He's smiling. Very, very quickly, his smile turns into something very different. Watch this. He goes after a guy, and they fight in the lobby, and there's kicking and punching, and a crowd is gathered around. And now he leaves the bodyguard behind. Here he goes. Now he's leaving the casino. He gets in the car, and that's where everything takes a header. Okay. Waze, tell me what you just saw.
He definitely saw something that took his attention totally off of the good time he was having and had him in what we call now on demon time. But for him to, again, when you're a bodyguard, like, I don't know, you gotta, I don't know. I look at it like if I was protecting my child. He's not going to get no further than arm's reach based on any quick reaction. I'm going to be just that much quicker in reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to take a listen. Tupac was a really intelligent kid. I want you to listen to this.
Are you angry with what you see society is about?
Yeah, I'm extremely angry, confused. You know, a lot of the times that I sat up in court, I couldn't defend myself. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like the things they were saying about me were beyond my comprehension, or the things that I could say weren't going to help my case. But because, I mean, it's like being exiled, you know, from society. And that's how I feel. And this whole, the anger comes from, I'm tired of waiting for my past to get into society. All I ever wanted to do was make me and everybody around me feel more comfortable about where we were. You know what I'm saying? About the places that we stayed. This is our home base. Let's build it up. Let's be happy about where we come from. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to assimilate and get a pass key to where they at. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that everything needs to be separate, but we got to find pride in ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And once you get the pride, like damn near 2 seconds after the pride comes anger.
If you heard what he said, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, but he's doing it brilliantly. That's masterful speaking, because he's telling you, I want a better place for my people, but I don't want my people to sell out. Whatever the fuck sell out means, okay? If it means making $1 million a year, that's selling out. How do you say that to a guy that's making $10 million a year? You know, there's some kind of gang culture here that I don't understand. So, Waze, you got to fill me in on what he's talking about here. And why the anger when he should be smiling? Because he's like a friggin' multi-billionaire. At
Well,
25.
there's a broken child inside of Tupac. That's what I want to get at. Like when you see him talking like that, he's being sincere. He's meaning what he says, and he was a product of like the Panther Party and all of that. So that whole, that angry black man thing is like been instilled in him from a young age. Now he wants to entertain. Now you want to pretty much dance with the powers that be that are total opposite what you kind of stood for at a young age. And I struggle with that. And I think everybody who comes from what we call the streets or just like that kind of environment, you're getting into a different place, and you're going to have to do things for that mighty dollar that we don't have back at home, but somebody has to take that chance.
Well, that's why you become who you become, to make a better life, to make the big bucks, right?
Well, by the time Tupac became that big, he was what I call a manufactured gangster. So they really took
I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. I cannot argue with that.
They took the whole idea. They sold our American youth our own fucking trash right back to us.
Yeah.
And as somebody who comes from that, who I feel like now my mindset is totally beyond that, I don't hold on to these pointless ideas, keeping it real. Oh, I ain't no snitch. I don't fuck with 12. Like all of that it's stupid fucking ideas.
Yeah.
That when we come from nothing, these ideas are all the fuck we got. When you get into when you become something and have something, now all these things, like you see them different because they kind of benefit you now. Yeah. But you look back at the people and the ties that bind you, that make you feel like I still have to save face with the trash I come from. Not as in people, but experiences and opportunities being the trash that we come from. These stupid ideas make us feel like we owe something to that.
That's a really interesting observation. Take a listen to this, you guys.
Killing each other because we killing ourselves. We're not when another man. I know I've been in a position. It's out of our control.
It's like exactly what Waze just talked about.
You know what I'm saying? It's that situation when you got we are.
This is exactly what Waze just talked about, and that's why I wanted to show you this, because you could not said it any more perfect. It's brilliant.
Living in a war zone. It's not as easy as these people are making us think, that they just got some criminal ass black kids with guns. It is not like that. We live in hell. We live in the gutter. We got us stacked up 80 deep in one building. You know, by the time you get out your house, you strapped to protect yourself. Because you living in the same community that the police is carrying rifles and riot gear. Same, they need them riot, excuse my language, I'm so sorry. The same reasons they need the riot hat, the riot jacket, the flak jacket, the double vest, the 9mm Glocks with extra bullets, the tear gas, the mace, all that. Who do you think the police is using that against? Dogs? So we fighting the same villains that they fight in the street. But instead of them seeing us fighting villains in the street, we all villains.
is your generation the one that is picking up for where the Panthers left off, saying, all right, enough is enough? The generation before us forgot about the fight. We're picking it back up.
Not only forgot about the fight, forgot about us.
Do you hear what he said? Not only did they forget about the fight, they forgot about us. I got to ask you ways to jump back in on that one.
It's a mindset that can be overcome, but when you're as young as he was, going through the things we go through at early ages, that some people who, it's all the same hurt, so we all go through it, but sometimes you see no light at no end of no tunnel, and that's when it becomes like you're living out of survival, not out of love. You know what I mean? And Tupac and a lot of us that come from that are beings of love. A lot of his community is very loving and kind. There's a big, like, the media portrays it a certain way. The music that I love so dearly doesn't help. But at the end of the day, they're human, and there's like everyone's like, we all think and want the same things. But when it feels like, hey, my brother gets more privilege than I, but we're both children of the same parents, it gets unfair. And then you stop being polite about it. Then you start being upset about it. Then you lash out a little bit more.
Mike Murphy, I'm going to bring you in over here. There's a kindred spirit between the world that Tupac is talking about and the world that you were once a part of, the biker clubs. It's the us against the world mentality is what he's talking about. Explain that to me and to people who don't understand that.
I'd like to say I agree with you with the kindredship. Unfortunately, I don't see it. As far as the biker club world, I guess there is some. We look out for our own, we take care of our own.
Well, that's the kindred spirit I'm talking about. That's exactly the kindred spirit I'm talking about. That's what he was just talking about.
Okay. As far as the other things like the pictures and the videos, I can't say anything about them because I didn't see them.
Right. Okay. Amelia, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, just like Mike was talking about, I mean, we all probably grew up in different types of neighborhoods, but just because, he grew up in that type of neighborhood and I grew up in a different type of neighborhood, I'm still going to be friends with them. They might be different people, but we're the same people. We're all going to get along. We're all going to be the same. I grew up that way. My parents didn't teach me, that person grew up in that neighborhood, don't talk to them. My parents grew up, we grew up with, you're going to talk to everybody, no matter what neighborhood they grew up with. You're all one people.
Absolutely.
Shelby. Never was like that.
Before I let you go, my dear daughter, because I know you have to leave me in about 30 seconds.
Oh.
Give me your insight on what we're talking about tonight.
Because I remember from the TV show that I was watching, the documentaries, there is a scene where Tupac's sitting on the stoop of his window, and he's sitting there reading a book, and his mom had just come home from doing whatever drugs she had been doing, and he was sitting there telling her what he should be doing, telling her that, we have no food in the house, we have no milk. I had to go out and steal for my sister. Inside there really was this broken child who didn't even get to heal himself because he was so young when he died. So it really is a shame that broken child never got to heal himself before.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, sweetie, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you so much, guys.
It was nice to meet you, sweetie.
Gotta say goodbye to my daughter, everybody. Shelby Monteron. Coming to you live from the basement of the house. Good night, sweetie. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Okay. I love that kid. She's my daughter.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's just us chickens here tonight. It's a really interesting case. We're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of this case. So Tupac Shakur was fatally wounded in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996. He died 6 or 7 days later from his injuries. He was 25. Earlier that night, he watched a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand along with Suge Knight. Suge Knight was involved in a fight with, I'm sorry, with Suge Knight. And Tupac was involved in a fight that evening involving a young guy named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, part of the group called the Crips. It should be noted that Suge Knight is associated with the Bloods. They are a rival gang. They have chapters all over the country. I think Mike Murphy may know a thing or two about both of these guys. So talk to me about the blood that exists between the Crips and the Bloods, Murph.
It's been a war that's been going on, or a rivalry that's been going on for years. I know a lot of both sides were pissed off when Snoop Dogg and Tupac started working together, because I believe one was Bloods, one was Crips. But they kind of tied together to make music to show the world, hey, we don't have to be killing each other all the time. We can, we can work together.
And that's what I was trying to. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get you to bring out before, Murph. That when it comes to money, does it really matter if it's green? The money's green. If everybody can benefit, then, why kill each other over music? I mean, we're talking about music.
Exactly.
Okay?
Music's music.
This is what we're talking about, music. Nobody's curing cancer here, okay? Nobody is winning the Nobel Peace Prize. We're talking about music. That's the essence of what we're talking about. It's music. Rival companies and rival producers. I still believe, and I believe it now and I believe it then, that Puff Daddy made a devil's deal with Suge Knight to have Tupac taken out because he stood to make more money with Tupac dead than alive. Think about the merchandising, the record sales, the music that had already been recorded, sitting in the studio vault. He had years worth of music pushed away. You realize that they're even today in 2022, they're still releasing unheard Tupac music that's never been heard before? That's how much music these people recorded. This kid was recording all the time.
Yes.
Talk to me. Go ahead, Murph.
Well, what I was going to say was, strangely enough, the night before Tupac was killed or shot, he was on a plane with Snoop and Suge Knight. They were coming back from a recording session somewhere, and Tupac was, in Snoop's own words, he could tell that Pac was not happy with him, because I think a question had come up about Tupac possibly, Snoop possibly doing music with Biggie. And he said, yeah, I do music with him. And Tupac might have taken that the wrong way. The whole night before they went, he didn't talk to him on the plane.
No, he took offense to it. And so, Waze, talk to me about that.
I just think the dynamic of like business versus personal just isn't understood by the artist himself like it is the overseers, like somebody like Suge Knight.
Right.
So, to work with somebody on a product for profit, you can put things aside. Like there's so much to be gained and so like much to be lost to not do that. So I think Snoop's understanding was, I've been in this game long enough to understand a little bit of the business side, and that would be a great business move and would shut this whole East Coast, West Coast thing down by doing so. Tupac had such he felt so loyal to them because they got him out of jail on a contract that I heard was written on toilet paper. I just feel like he was so in debt to Suge that, and when people put a lot of money in front of your face, you might do some things outside of yourself. You might stretch yourself a little bit. And I think Tupac was kind of just stretching himself as a human being, like his loyalty to something that was street when it was really should have been about business.
Well, in business, people compromise their loyalties all the time. Why
Very
is it?
true.
Why is it any different in rap? And let me ask you another question, because that's one question I want you to answer. The other question is, and just tell me if I'm like out of line here or whatever. But was Tupac's indignation genuine, or was it put on for the public? Was he like trying to be a hood, or was he from the hood? Talk to me about this guy, because he sounded incredibly articulate in some of these videos.
As a lot of guys are that are from the hood. So I say that to say, I don't think, even though he saw a lot of darkness, he was raised in a loving environment. He talks about his mothers and his aunts all the time, raised by a lot of women. And he had probably a lot of positive role models with the Panther Party family and friends that his mother kept around.
Right.
And then I mentioned him being a manufactured gangster. Fun fact, tell me if I'm wrong. The guy who discovered him, Shock G, graduated from my hometown of Tampa, Florida. I say that to say when he was with Shock, I say that to represent Tampa, but I also say that to say when he was with Shock G, the things he were doing was far from gangster music. When he got with Suge Knight, who had a gangster image, Death Row had a gangster image, Snoop Dogg, biggest artist in the world, well-known Crip, gangster image. Tupac, I think they marketed the heck out of his angry side and his passionate side and made it about, gangster stuff, which I don't really think Tupac was about at his heart.
Interesting. Amelia, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's right, because a lot of people know how to interact around different people. I mean, like when you're around like socialites, you'll have to act that way. When you're around like maybe country folk, that's how you want to act around. When you're around rich people, that's how you'll want to interact, and that's how you would like to speak.
Do you think that Tupac was a product of his environment, or was
Yes.
he a chameleon?
I think that's a chameleon, because that's how, whenever he was around gangster people, that's how he would act. Whenever he was around his mother, he'd act like the loving son, and things like that.
When the things that started happening to him when he got with Death Row started coming at him, I saw more pain, like hurt, like how could the world do this to me?
Yeah.
And everything was lashing out. If he was really as cutthroat as his image, he'd have been more like Suge Knight, who I hear used to bully his way through life.
Exactly.
Yes.
Take a look at this, you guys.
World is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. Everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, I feel like, instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's there, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, we've been slighted. And we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we're past that. But we need help. For us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it from. For us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there. And now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels and they paid and everything. And they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, everybody need a little help on their way to being, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something to be independent.
That spoke volumes to me when I watched that, because I thought to myself, you hypocrite. You're a guy that's making tens of millions of dollars. You have the ability to help everybody you want to help. And he's talking about we need help on getting on our feet. Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking hypocrite. And that's when I lost respect for Tupac Shakur. Let's watch this.
His mother felt that the proper thing for her is to let him go. And that feeling, bro, you know what I mean? That was one of the worst things, one of the worst news that I ever heard, that he's no longer with us.
How bad was Tupac's condition when he was in the hospital?
When I seen him, because I was able to go into the room, it was bad. But, you know, before that, his mother, his sister kept saying, he's good. You know, they very strong, especially his mother. She a strong person, optimistic, never said anything negative. Even when her son was in the hospital dying, fighting for his life, everybody she seen, she hugged, she smiled. So when I got there and I said, how was Pop? She was like, he's okay, baby. He's going to be fine. When I went into the room, he was unconscious and he had all these tubes down his throat. I couldn't take it. I ran out the room. I rushed out the room like in tears, you know?
So what made her pull the plug?
I think she got tired of, you know what I mean? There was so many, you know, they kept doing surgeries, operating on Pac. You know, she would come out again and they just removed his lung. They removed his fingers. And it was difficult. She just felt like the best thing for her to do was to pull it. You know, and after that, she was like, I know my son. My son is very prideful.
That's the first time I'd ever, and I read a lot of stuff about this. That's the first time I ever heard anybody say that they removed his finger and his lungs. You guys know anything about that, Amelia?
I never heard about that. I just heard about the lung. When I watched back the documentary, I just heard about the lung.
Yeah, I thought I heard something about the lung. Never heard a darn thing about his finger and can't quite see where that makes any sense.
Yeah, and he's the only person that's ever referenced the doctors taking Tupac's finger off. And I thought, why would they take his finger off?
Right.
What would that have to do? The man was shot in the chest and in the face and all over the place here. Why would you take his finger off? I can understand taking a punctured lung out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because, you know, they can fix that.
Yeah.
But I don't get the whole finger thing. Well, let's talk a little bit about this.
I mean, the only thing for the finger would be for fingerprints, right?
Yeah. Earlier in that night, they watched the Mike Tyson fight. We saw video of that.
Mm-hmm.
They came out of the casino. They run into a guy named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson was a member of the Southside LA Crips. Death Row Records found that Suge Knight was affiliated with the rival Bloods gang. Now, Murphy, are they called gangs or clubs? Or what are we using here?
Gangs.
Okay.
Called gang.
Tupac Shakur, sitting in the passenger side of the car, was hit 3 times. One striking his hip, the other his right hand, and the fatal wound to his chest. He was struck point blank in the chest. According to the witness, Shakur attempted to jump into the back seat of the car. Listen to what I'm going to tell you guys, because this is where it gets dicey. He attempts to, and there's video footage of it too. I'm not going to show that to you because it's graphic. He attempts to jump into the back seat of the car while he was being shot. But Suge Knight, the driver of the car, grabs him and pulls him back to the passenger seat in the front. 2 tires were also punctured out. They were shot out in the gunfire. Suge Knight suffered only a minor wound to his head or neck. He's actually got shot right below the ear. But again, he's a big man, a thick guy, thick bones, and it didn't penetrate as deep as it could have. I'm sure he was grateful. After the gunfire ceased, Knight turns to Tupac and says, "Are you okay, Pac?" Tupac, after seeing the blood on Suge Knight's head, says, "Me, ? You're the one shot in the motherfucking head," unquote. And that's exactly what he said. The other thing, the police officer on the scene went up to Suge and asked him who shot. He said, "Didn't see anything." Keep in mind, there are at least 100 videos, cell phone videos, surveillance camera videos from the MGM plus all the casinos in the area. You're going to tell me that not one camera picked up the assailant? The same police officer walks around to Tupac Shakur's side of the car. He says, Tupac, who shot you? Tupac said to him, and I quote, fuck you. That's what he said. He's dying, and he says, fuck you. Now, either he's not going to give it up, or he's going down to his death in one final blaze of glory. I don't know which it is, brave, nobility, or stupid. So, in September 2018, 3 years after running over and killing an associate in Compton, Knight was jailed for manslaughter for 28 years. It is in his imprisonment that the turning point was struck. Because his power is now diminished, those who once worked for him and feared him felt they were free to speak. They could speak freer without any change on them. Yeah, exactly, repercussion. For sure, absolutely. So now, go back to Murph on this one. So, Murphy, what's not ringing true to you here?
Well, one, that there's no cameras anywhere that picked it up. That, that doesn't sound right. As far as Tupac telling the cop, fuck you, and Suge Knight saying, oh, I didn't see anything, that's just street rule right there. You confronted by the cops, you don't talk. Even if you knew who did it, you didn't say anything.
Jimmy Thunder from Down Under says, Suge Knight was a childhood friend of Orlando Anderson's uncle Keefy D. That's absolutely true. Keefy D was an interesting character. Waze, what do you know about Keefy D and Orlando Anderson?
I don't know much other than what the documentaries talk about. The gang members. That's about all I really recall. Rival gang member. They made it really seem like this was just like, a street issue between two guys.
They're calling him Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. I tried to find out where he got the name Baby Lane from, and it's hard to come by. There's varying accounts of how he got it. But so now we're going to talk about one more thing here, and then here we go.
Would you characterize yourself as somebody who was very angry before you went to prison?
Nah, I thought I was charming.
Then why were you always getting in all these altercations? I mean, something was going on.
I have spirit.
Spirit.
I have so much spirit, man. Where no one else would do things, I would do it.
Well, a lot of people have spirit, but they don't.
Okay, Waze, let me ask you a question. She says to him, why do you do these things? He says, I have spirit. Is it spirit, or is he just trying to make a name for himself? And is that something you do on the street?
I think a lot of this now, you got to remember there's a camera in his face, and he took a lot of acting classes. So I think a lot of things were really just geared towards feeding the idea of the image at this point. I mean, the bandana around his head, like image becomes so important once you're in this game as deep as they were. And I had to learn that, when people wanted me to dress and act and talk a certain way and even answer certain questions.
Let me tell you how far back that goes. You're absolutely right. 1972, Elvis Presley gave a press conference in Madison Square Garden. A reporter asked him, Mr. Presley, what about your image as a shy, humble country boy? And he stands up and he's loaded with jewelry, and he's got a big gold belt on, and he's got all kinds of the finest of the best, right? And he says, lady, the image is one thing, the human being is another. And it's very hard to live up to an image. I think Tupac Shakur found out just how hard it was to live up to an image.
Spirit, but they don't.
Because they're smart and immature, and I was immature before, so my spirit was handled in an immature manner. I just let it run. Now I'm a little bit more mature, and I'm going to get even more mature with time. So now I'm more mature. I can go. I know I want to do that. This is what I would do, but I ain't going to do it.
How would you characterize yourself how would you characterize yourself in the past? What does immature mean to you?
I was immature. Immature. I did things without thinking. My actions came before thought.
And sometimes maybe words too.
And all my words came before thought. Things that I did, things I said. There's so many things I want to take back.
Like what?
It's gone now, so I can't take it back. But I wish I could have, but I can't now. But
because you are sort of known for having a big mouth.
Yeah.
No offense.
I am though, and I don't mind either. I know people feel like that, but I don't care. You know what I mean? This is how I feel, and then I'm in the business, right? So I hate hearing other people's thoughts. Like I'll be watching something.
She says to him, "You're known for having a big mouth. No offense." He says, "I know."
And I'll be like, he's lying. He doesn't feel like that. So that made me go out. When I finally got my shot to go on the camera, it made me go out there and say everything I really wanted to say, instead of being like politically correct or thinking about how this would hurt people or thinking about how this would come out. I just was to say things just because I knew no one says that.
And that goes to what Waze was talking about. Exactly what you were talking about.
That's crazy.
Put it out there. I'm telling you. I have scoured this guy's most controversial statements, and there were a lot, trust me. I gathered what I thought were the best of the best, but, brother, I haven't even scratched the surface of this shit.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing we're going to do, and then we're going to talk about all of this stuff. I have to warn people, and I have to do this legally.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
You're looking at a 25-year-old man cut down in the prime of his life. He hasn't even reached the prime of his life. 25 years old. Was it worth it? I don't know. Graphic stuff. I wanted to show people that. If you thought that was graphic, I assure you, I absolutely assure you, the video of the actual shooting was far more graphic. Watching somebody get killed in front of you is not a pleasant thing to behold. The other thing you saw in that video was the autopsy report. Go online and read it sometime. It's something very wrong about that autopsy report. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's almost as if somebody's telling somebody else what to write down. You know what I'm talking about, Waze?
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
familiar
of course.
with Talk to me, brother.
Well, I think we're all adults here, and we all have exercised our BS meter to the point to where we recognize it, whether it's on paper, fresh out of someone's mouth, or something we're watching. We can, we're all smart people here. We can read through some BS, right?
Right. It's a lot of BS, brother. It's a lot of BS.
and I trust your judgment. and I'll definitely check it out for myself. But yeah,
it's just something very, very amiss about it.
And Angelo, it's not the first time that somebody's put something on an autopsy that report that.
right,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, sure.
we've heard about that throughout all COVID-19 and all
Right.
that.
Oh god, yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
and the idea of his tires being shot out. Now, maybe if they like hit the curb and the front tire got put out. I've never heard of a hit in these streets where somebody was to shoot the tires.
All
You know what I
four
mean? Like
tires.
that's quite tactical. If someone's shooting out the tires so they can't go nowhere, so the hit happens.
And that's my point, and that's why I think this was a hit. Mike Murphy agrees with me. He's shaking his head yes.
Yes.
Right, Murph?
Yeah.
This
And that
was
that brings
a-
questions too.
Go ahead, Mike.
This was a hit set up, and the spot where the car had the tires blown out, perfectly in a position to where there was possibly no cameras to see it.
Absolutely.
It was set up from beginning to end.
This was
And I believe
orchestrated,
Suge
Mike.
Knight
and
set it up.
This was orchestrated like almost like what you would call, Mike Murphy, a coup d'etat. This was almost a coup d'etat because it was so
knew-
tactical, so precise, so precision that it was almost done with military precision, almost military expertise.
Right.
We have a friend on this show named Stephen Plim. Stephen Plim was 4 cars behind Tupac Shakur that night. Okay?
Wow.
4 cars behind him and saw nothing. I want you to think about that. 4 cars behind him and saw nothing. That's how tactical this hit was. This was like a mafia hit. They disabled the car, like Waze said. They disabled the tires. They've got everything in the position, like Mike Murphy said. They laid their target. They laid in wait. When they had an opening, because everybody knows that Tupac loved to drive with the window down. Everybody knew that. And he was always, you know him, he said it himself. He's got a big mouth. You know? There is video, you can see it. Had Tupac hanging out the window, flipping people off the finger, you know? Telling people, you know, I love you, fuck you. I mean, this is the kind of shit that came out of his mouth. I love you and fuck you in the same breath. Okay? I don't understand that. I'm old. I will admit freely I'm old. I don't get it. Okay? But there's got to be some kind of street etiquette to explain this to me. And if anybody wants to take the time to do it, I'm open. Please talk to me.
Young shit, dumb shit. End of explanation.
There you go. There you go.
They must have had it perfectly planned,
Amelia.
like Mike Murphy was saying, because they had to drive to a certain point. And they said, you know, we're gonna have you get right here, shoot the tires, and that explains why Frank Alexander, all of a sudden, his bodyguard decided, oh, I'm gonna go with the girlfriend. I'm gonna ride in her car instead. And then all of a sudden, why would he pull him back into the front seat? Say, no, this is gonna be a hit, so you're gonna have to get up front with me. That bothers me too. Right
what
there.
bothers me, and you brought something up. What bothers me
Mm-hmm.
About this is that they fingered Orlando Baby Lane Anderson as the trigger man,
Right.
despite the fact, by the
Mhm.
way, that he did not have a gun in his possession,
Mm-hmm.
could not own a gun, no
Exactly.
gun was found on his person.
Mm-mm.
Despite this, they brought him in and charged him as the trigger guy.
Right.
How do you do that? How do you do that, Murph? If you can explain to me like how that works, how do you bring a guy in
Well,
as the trigger man when he didn't have a gun?
I think that would have been. I think I would have had that fall guy, if you will, set up as part of the whole thing. What I'm surprised about is that when they brought him in, nobody did a nitrate test.
No.
A nitrate test is a nitrate.
Go ahead, Murph.
A nitrate test is a test that they check for gunpowder.
Right.
Because when you fire a weapon, you get blowback. And that lands on your clothes, it lands on your skin, and you can wash your hands all you want, but it'll still be there. So they do a nitrate test, and it'll show up where the gunpowder was.
Yeah. Gunpowder is not coming off your hands. You can't use soap and water to get gunpowder residue off you. It will. You have to have an acidic solution. You need acetone, or something like that. That's the only way it's coming off. So this is the this is it. This is the case of Tupac Shakur. So where are we any further than when we started?
No, but I have a funny. It's funny that you brought up Puff Daddy Combs, because I had him written down on my list too as one of the suspects.
Here's what I think. I think, as I said, Suge Knight and Sean Puff Daddy Combs. Yeah. I think they made a deal.
Yeah,
I think
had him
they
written down too.
out. I think the shooter was from New York. I think he was a bad boy, one of Sean Combs' bad boy guys. He had to clearly be a New York rapper.
Yes.
Definitely East Coast. But Suge Knight, because he's a businessman, doesn't care East Coast, West Coast. He cares about what color's my fucking money.
Yeah, he wants that money.
Okay?
Yes.
That's the difference between Suge Knight and other, and I'll give Suge Knight that much. All he cared about was the money.
Oh, absolutely.
But Suge Knight also had a ridiculous fucking temper and killed the guy by running him over not once but 4 times with his car. That's why he's doing 30 years in jail right now. So
And
I'll tell you what.
rumor is,
go ahead, Murph. Talk to me, brother.
Rumor is that he actually took Vanilla Ice and hung him out by his ankles over a balcony at a hotel.
That story never happened. I actually know that story. That story never happened. It happened, but it didn't happen to Vanilla Ice. They took a yeah. I know the story. The rumor was that it was Vanilla Ice. It was not. It was another young white wannabe rapper. You know, they used to use a name. I'm not going. It's the N word with a W in front of it. They could used to call them niggers. Yeah. And Waze knows what I'm fucking talking about. I hate the either. I don't like the N word or the W word. Okay, but
I grew up in a time where everyone was saying that crazy shit. I remember that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If black people want white people to stop using the N word, then black people need to stop using the N word. You understand? It's just that simple. I don't care if it's a or a. The N with a or the N with a. It don't make any difference to me. It's a bad word. Don't use it.
Exactly.
If you stop using it, white folks will stop using it. Well, most white folks anyway. Anyway.
Do you also know who had a lot of power over Tupac's career?
Yeah, there were a couple of people.
His girlfriend, Jada Pinkett, at the time.
Well, there is some speculation, again, highly credible speculation, that they were for show only. That's what we hear. It was for show only.
Listen, you could speculate Tupac's whole death was all for show only. That's a whole nother thing.
But that's exactly the point.
Mm-hmm.
That may have been what got him killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about, Waves. That you're going right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going right there. That's what may have taken him down. Because look, you can't live that kind of life and expect to live to be 70 or 80 years old. I want to read you a statistic. I actually wrote this down. This is true. And if you think I'm kidding, go on Google and search it. Since 1992, more than 1,000 rappers have been murdered.
Yes.
All of them under the age of 30. All of them. The oldest being 27.
Wow.
Think about that.
Oh, I have.
Think about that.
And these labels.
How does that affect you? Talk to me, Waze. How does that affect you?
Obviously, these labels make huge profit with their post. What do they call it? Like their after they've died music. I'm sure there's
post-mortem,
post-mortem. I'm sure there's big fusses and fights over who owns what rights to what pieces of work. I think that happened with Suge and Tupac's mom, where they went to like court war over like royalty ownership and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And now, unless you get these artists in these dummy deals, which a lot of times is the only way into the game, and you get them hooked on something that they're going to be in debt for anyway, just for a little bit of pocket change and some popularity.
Yeah.
Now you own everything they ever touch. So whether they die or not, you're gonna the you being the label owns everything.
Well, let me ask you a question, Waze. Do you write your own music?
Definitely. The lyrics, yes. I purchase beats from producers, but I write word for word my music.
Is your music copyrighted?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a publishing house?
Yeah, I go through BMI.
Okay. Let me tell you what the deal was with Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight.
Uh-huh.
The deal was simple. Suge got everything. Tupac got what amounts to an allowance. He gave him, he had money, big money, but not the kind of money Suge was making. Suge Knight was almost a billionaire. People realize that he was a fucking billionaire, but acting like a street thug. This is the kind of hypocrisy I'm talking about. You're talking about a guy that's, saying screw the man, fuck the man, but he is the man. He's the one making the billions.
Yeah, he's no different than these corporate record labels and what they call the man. Yeah, of course. Like,
it's so disingenuous. It's so fucking disingenuous. You can't even compare like what you're doing to what they're doing, because you're doing the right way. You've got things copyrighted and your I's dotted and your T's crossed and you're doing it legal. These guys wrote contracts on the back of bar napkins. Okay?
At the time they didn't have access to the information like independent artist does now. They didn't know. I didn't come into this knowing either, but you hear all the echoes and eventually you start looking into it yourself and realize like, okay, I should copyright. I do need publishing. Like, to legitimize yourself, you go through these motions, or you meet a Suge Knight who's going to get you out of jail, put millions in front of you and put you in front of the whole world to see, and just sign right here. No questions asked.
Absolutely.
We're
going to check out the chat room here. Here we go. Jimmy Thunder from Down Under. First of all, Jimmy's our man in Australia, New Zealand. Great guy. They allegedly got the gun from Eric Zip Martin in Las Vegas, who was watching the fight, according to Keefe D. Well, that's true, according to Keefe D. Problem was Keefe D failed repeated lie detector tests. That was one problem. Suge also held Puffy accountable for the death of his friend Big Jake. This is also true. But remember something very simple. Money has no loyalty. That's the problem. Money has no loyalty.
Yeah.
In recent times, Nipsey Hussle, absolutely. Quincy Jones' daughter, absolutely. All what he's talking about, these are all people who have died in the last since 1992. Rappers who have died for no fucking reason, no good reason, other than that they didn't play ball with one coast or the other. What if you're a rapper living in Chicago, like Waze? Where's your loyalty? Your loyalty better be to your fucking self, because you're the only guy that's going to pay for your bills. Nobody's going to pay your bills but you.
Listen, life taught me that. The streets taught me that. This music business taught me that.
Absolutely,
and it's unfortunate because some of my closest relationships suffer due to like this mindset being built in. I call it like street PTSD, like post-traumatic, a street mind mentality.
Yeah. We have Iron Claw 30 says, I watched the video on dark symbolism you did and was blown away. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Claw. We actually have another a continuing series that we're going after we do our unsolved murders. We have a series we're going to continue about hiding, and it's called Hiding in Plain Sight. We're going to continue to do more symbolism. We're going to explore the Illuminati. We're going to explore the Committee of 900, the Committee of 300, the Council of 9. We're going to explore all of these upper echelon, high-powered, long-standing power brokers that run the world, and to see what you can do to break free of these power brokers. Believe it or not, there is something that you can do about it, and something absolutely simple. It's so simple, it should be criminal. In fact, in some countries it is. Luckily, in the United States, it is not. So, Amelia, I think tonight was a very, very good show. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It was a fantastic show. I get to see my friend Mike.
Enjoy yourself tonight. And Murph, I'm so sorry, Murph, that you had some technical issues, but at least you didn't lose you.
With him. He's got a friend with him there. Who's your buddy?
Oh, you got the puppy.
This is my puppy, Lily Beast.
That puppy's bigger than you.
She wanted to make an appearance.
Beautiful.
Like mine did the other day.
I love doggies.
That's why I call her Lily Beast.
And I could testify too that I saw Waze write his own music, because I've seen him write his own music when we worked together back at a collection.
I want to promote Waze right now. I want to bring you up here.
Yes.
I'm going to put the big camera on your Waze. Hold on there, brother.
It's Waze. What's up?
It's Waze World.
You can find Waze on Spotify. Just go to spotify.com/artist/ all these numbers, or simply type in WAYZ, and you will find our guest, Waze, also known in the real world as Michael Ortiz.
That too.
How do we used to say it? What? It's Waze World, remember?
Waze World.
Waze World.
That's the website. It says Waze World.
We used to tell them that all the time.
It happens to be also one of my favorite movies. Happens to be Wayne's World.
Right, and because it does something to the mind, it's a perfect play on words for me. So that's why I had to be the website. I had to be the tags.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I'll tell you what. We're going to. In fact, I'll let Amelia do it. Amelia, tell everybody what's coming up the next couple of weeks.
Well, we have tomorrow, actually Thursday, we have Dr. Tobia.
Tomorrow I'm off. I ain't doing nothing.
I forgot. I wasn't having that show tomorrow. I forgot. See, it happens because we have that hurricane. They're going to give us the day off tomorrow. See, already. So we have Dr. Tobia coming on Thursday.
Yep.
And Dr. Ellie, what's her last name since you remember
Ellie
how?
Diani.
Thank you.
Poor girl. I screw her name up today.
He got it right today. No, and we're going to be talking about cults. Actually, we're going to start that again.
Yes,
finally.
we're going to start the psychology of cults.
Yes,
There's a
and
good
this
one
is,
too.
The Amy Carlson, not to be confused with the actress Amy Carlson from Blue Bloods. Love Has One Cult. That's going to be part 1. Actually, we're going to start that as well.
Oh, hold on, we got somebody up here.
Oh.
Deshaun B. Quincy Jones' daughter killed Tupac.
Whoa, that's a different.
Now let me ask you,
Deshaun.
I want to hold on a minute. We're not going anywhere yet.
Oh, okay.
This is the first I've heard about this.
That's something new.
Quincy Jones' daughter killed Tupac.
Oh, wow.
Deshaun, if you're still there with me, can you please elaborate? Can you? I hate to put you on the spot.
You know what that calls
that's
for?
That's too good. Hold on, Amelia. That's too good to let go. I want to find out about that.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find out about that. So I'm going to wait for you, Deshaun. Take all the time you need, because we'll sit here and bullshit and talk.
Wow.
So Amelia, tell everybody what else is coming up.
Yeah, and while we're waiting on that, on October 4th, we have the Manson cult. Also, as I was mentioning,
Charles Manson.
We have that, and the Koresh. I don't know if everybody remembers David Koresh.
David Koresh, Waco, Texas.
We have that.
The Branch Davidians.
On October 6th. And then we have Jonestown coming up, another cult with on October 11th. And
Jonestown, Guyana.
We have Heaven's Gate also coming up.
That's a really interesting case.
That one, you said he was an actor.
Founded by 2 actors.
And when I saw him, and I was like, I recognize that person. He said that was an actor. I said, yep, that has to be an actor that I recognize.
Yeah, that's Marshall Applegate.
I don't know if you've heard of him, guys, but that is interesting when I saw him. And
I'm waiting for Deshaun B.
And then
pop in here, brother. If you're around, please let me know. I got to find out what happened here.
Yeah, and
Quincy Jones' daughter, huh?
And while we're waiting on that, we have an exciting a week after that because
you left something out, though. You left something out for next week.
No, we
next Wednesday, the Beatles.
Oh, after is it that week on the 12th or the 5th?
Yeah, we're doing the next week. We're doing. Mary Ann Howard and Ann Walsh. They're going to talk about their book.
I was going to have you do that because that's your favorite group is the Beatles. That was your introduction.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Hold on, I'm going to tell you exactly. It's going to be on October the 5th, next Wednesday.
Your favorite group of all time.
I love me some Beatles.
Mm-hmm. But because I was so excited to get to the next week after that, the 18th and the 20th, because that's one of my favorites, because I've been wanting you to do this one for the longest time, is to bring back the psychic realm. That's what I was getting to.
We are doing the Psychic Realm podcast. We're going to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be actually
But we're not bringing back Wrestling with the Future. No. I'm done with the wrestling. I'm done with them truck cards in the wrestling business.
Oh, I think he, it's because I wanted you to bring it back because it's one of my favorites. And
go ahead, I take exception. Mike Cullen and my friend Mike Cullen from Alaska heard Manson was another experiment by one of the 3-letter agencies. Same thing with James John. That's not quite true, but I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Not true. Charles Manson was just a sick fuck. Mm-hmm. Charles Manson was actually a talented songwriter. Mm-hmm. What happened, what set him off the rail was that Brian Wilson, Dennis Wilson's brother, was a friend of his, and he told Charles Manson he was going to give his music to his brother,
to listen to see if he can become a recording artist.
To kind of give an opinion on it. Mm-hmm. And he never did.
No.
He was going to give, because there was Carl Wilson,
Mhm.
Brian Wilson, Dennis Wilson.
Mhm.
So he gave this music.
Mhm.
Said, "Oh, well, I'll make sure that he looks at it," and he
Mhm.
never did.
No.
And that was the one thing that set Charles Manson off, and that set a series of events that took down a dozen people.
Mhm.
Okay, a lot of people got fucked over on that.
Oh, absolutely. They did.
Yeah, but yeah, Mike Cullen, how you doing, Mike? In Alaska, I haven't heard from you in a while. Deshaun Jones, I wish Deshaun would pop in here, but he's not. If Mike Cullen is still there,
Yeah,
let me
and
know
now
what's going on.
as I was mentioning before, while we're waiting on Mike or Deshaun,
Well, I'll
the
tell you
psychic
what. We're going to
realm.
have to say,
Mhm.
yeah, because it's already 8:30. We're going to have
Yeah.
to say goodbye. All right. Well,
Okay.
listen, you guys. Let us say goodnight to each other. And here we hold on.
Oh.
Hold on.
Good dropping a trailer.
Good dropping a trailer. Dropping a trailer. What are you doing? You're dropping a trailer.
Just getting off of work,
Oh.
like a trailer hitched to his truck.
Oh, I'm thinking. See, my mind works like a film trailer.
I could
got
be
you,
wrong.
Mike.
I could be wrong.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a great show, great
Yes.
night. For Michael Armageddon Murphy, for Michael Ortiz, aka Waze, you find him on Spotify, and for Amelia Pitbull Chapman, I am Angelo, the Mad Dog DeCipio. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.